Realtors are notorious for saying, now is always the time to buy real estate. And I'll tell you this, if there's anything I've learned over the last 3 years, that's not necessarily the case. Austin, Texas was the #1 market for most of the pandemic era, and ever since has been on a downward slide, leaving a lot of people who bought within the last 3 years in really compromising positions. So, even though that is happening, there are 3 categories of people that I still truly believe down to my core should be looking at buying real estate right now. Between interest rates being close to 7%, international tensions all over the globe, and our own little economic crisis here in the US, I can totally understand why many people are sitting on the fences and just waiting it out to see what happens. But in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly who I think is going to benefit from this market right now and the opportunities it presents exclusively for them. Hi, my name is Jordan Brown, and I help people just like you move to the Central Texas area every single week. And I'm excited for you to watch this video and hopefully identify if you see yourself in any of these categories of people that I believe should be looking to buy right now, given everything that's going on around the world. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. The first group that I think should be looking to buy in the Austin, Texas market right now are long-term buyers with stable jobs. These people are not trying to time the market. They're playing the long game. Here's some context for this specific group of buyers. Home prices around Central Texas are either stabilizing or, like most of the places, softening quite a bit. And look, I get it. Interest rates are not 3% anymore, but there's more to it than just that. You have heard that you marry the house and you date the rate. But what does that actually mean? What it means is that you can always refinance later on if interest rates become in a favorable position. But what you can't renegotiate is going to be the price of the home. And these softened prices are making much more buyer-friendly entry points for this strategy. Real quick, I'm going to put a screenshot of a market analysis of how things were going this time in 2022. I'm going to pause that right here. And now I want you to take a look at how that compares to the market right now. What you're going to notice is that the average home price has dropped significantly in Williamson County. Since that time, there's a ton more competition in the market, meaning more options for these buyers. And the days on market are going up, which means that your sellers are sitting there getting antsy. They want to sell this house. They're seeing all these other houses pop up and they're sitting. And you never know, that crazy aggressive offer that you were thinking about making in 2022 that had no chance of getting approved might have a chance now. If you've watched any of my home buyer videos, I am always saying that I can never recommend fully that you're ready to buy until I know what your situation is. However, I will say that time in the market is way more important than time in the market. And what I mean by that is that if you're going to be in this house for the next 5+ years, I feel so much more confident that you're going to come out on the better side, possibly with some equity, possibly with some appreciation, than I can if you're not staying that long. Some people, I get it. Life happens. You're in a house for a year. You get a relocation package from your job, and now you got to pack up and move. And if you bought within the last 3 years, you're upside down in the home. So absolutely, the longer you stay in the house, the more likely it is that you're going to come out on the better side. So if you're going to stay put for at least 5 years, now is the time that you get into the market when your options are higher. There's so much more to pick from now than there has been in the last 5, heck, probably even the last decade. We have so much inventory right now, over 17,000 homes for sale right now. Seller incentives are still there. Between builders and antsy sellers, they are practically throwing money at you to make a move. And not to mention, your competition is low. Not everyone is in a position to buy right now. So if you are, you're one of the lucky few who has all this on the table for you, working in your favor. My second group of people that I can put a personal recommendation on that, yes, now is the time for you to make a move. It's move-up buyers sitting on equity. If you've owned a home for the last 5 to 10+ years, you are sitting on a gold mine. You've been blessed with this once-in-a-lifetime appreciation boom, and while it's come down a little bit, it's still not even scratching the surface of what we went through during that appreciation we saw during the pandemic era. So while you've lost out on double-digit depreciation for the last 2 years, if you're still sitting on your hands, you still have this home, you still have the opportunity to sell it and tap into the equity. And yes, this means that you might be giving up that lovely 2 or 3% interest rate that is anchoring you into your home right now. But in exchange for that, you're leveling up your lifestyle, your location, and the future value potential of a new property. We call that 3% interest rate the golden handcuffs. It's a great asset that you have that, but a lot of people are coming to find out that that home that you got that 3% interest rate on no longer suits your lifestyle. And so you feel anchored here because you're never going to get that again. Don't let that be the only reason that stops you from upgrading your lifestyle. And look, it's never going to be that perfect scenario where you're going to get the most value to sell your home, but then get the cakewalk of buying your new home. You've got to have a little bit of give and take here. So think of the equity that you're cashing out right now on this home that you're maybe not as satisfied with as making up for a larger down payment on a lower priced home now. And that's going to help you offset some of the higher rates. And as I mentioned, so many of these builders and sellers right now are throwing incentives at you to try to help you select their homes. I've seen incentives with rates as low as 3.99%. So the deals are out there. I actually just worked with a family who sold their house in Round Rock that had a 3.5% interest rate, and they upgraded into the home of their dreams in Liberty Hill. And get this, even though the interest rate was higher on their newer home, they were able to put such a big down payment on their new house that it really isn't that drastically different of a payment. And they finally got the space that they needed. That's a win-win. Before I reveal this third group of people that I think could take advantage of this market, I've got to let you know that I do prepare a monthly newsletter. It goes out on the first of the month for all my subscribers. It's packed with Austin, Texas events, home highlights, market statistics, and more. So if that's something of interest to you, I've got a link down in the description below where you can sign up for that. I'd love to have you. And you never know, sometimes I put in some giveaways there. So subscribe today and I'll see you in the newsletter. There seems like there's an honorable mention here that's really obvious, and that's investors. People who have cash that don't care about interest rates. If you're an investor looking to get involved, the Austin, Texas market, as I mentioned, has softened majorly. So the same home that you were looking at 2 or 3 years ago is down probably 20 to 25% in price. So if you're an all cash buyer, that sounds like a great deal to me. And with the increased inventory that doesn't seem to be slowing down, we got some squirmy sellers, and I'm sure they'd love to hear your offer. All right, the third and final group that I think should be taking advantage of this market right now, that's renters that are facing high rental costs. Don't get me wrong, rental prices have cooled down quite a bit in Austin as well. However, the closer you get to the major metro area, the more that rent goes up. I'm telling you, people tell me all the time, because I help people buy and lease. They say, Jordan, I don't understand. I'm paying $4,000 for this apartment. I have a 1-car garage space, and I don't really love the area that I'm in. $4,000 a month could get you an amazing house in the suburbs. So there's opportunities out there. Now, while I would love to tell you that buying is less money per month than it is renting, most likely that's not true. However, the situation is dependent. There are people renting in Austin right now, and just because Austin is in your city part of your address, you're paying 1.5 times what you could be paying for a home out in one of the surrounding suburbs. So anyone that's paying something around $2,500 per month or more towards rent seriously needs to consider their options to buy, because you can make it happen. There are suburbs around Austin with payments lower than that. And I'm talking with $0 down to get into that home. Really, we've got to know your situation first before I can really make a recommendation as to if that move is going to be beneficial for you or not. This is the average rental price in Austin, Texas. And now I'm going to pull it up on the screen. I want you to see some opportunities of what it's like to own an entry-level home in the suburbs. Now, this doesn't mean that just because you are paying over $2,500 for rent, that means you should absolutely jump right now on the opportunity. There's a lot that goes into this. lifestyle, location, movability. Maybe you're in the military and you have to be able to hop around quite a bit. Maybe your job is remote. Maybe it's not. Maybe you got to go in somewhere that's close to the office. I don't know that yet. But here's what I do know. There is a percentage of people who may be watching and you're paying over $2,500 per month. You would love the opportunity for some stability. You would love the opportunity to build equity in a place. And you would love to have predictable cost. And you don't really get that when you're renting. And it's perfectly possible if you are paying that much for rent right now, you might be funding someone else's financial wealth instead of your own. Before I wrap this up, there's an obvious statement here. And if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for sticking around. All of this only applies to if you can afford it. I would never, ever suggest that you buy a home if that's going to go against your goals and put you in a bind to where you're having to give up certain aspects of your lifestyle. That is not what I want you to do. But I do want you to think critically about your situation and really identify, am I happy where I'm at? Should I be taking advantage of this market and the opportunities that's presenting right now? And only you can come up with that answer. Now, if you or someone you know has come to the conclusion that they would like to buy and they're tired of their situation that they're in, please call me today. I am here to be a resource for you. My phone number is 512-337-3947. As I mentioned, I help people just like you with a variety of situations figure out what is best for them. And I'm here to support you no matter what. So to recap, if you're a long-term buyer with a stable job, if you're sitting on an asset with tons of equity and you're looking to upgrade your life, or if you have high rental costs, you might be in a position to take full advantage of this market and the incentives that are being thrown at you right now. You have so much more power in this market than you think. And look, I'm not here to convince you or anyone that you need to buy a house right now. But what I do want to do is make sure that the right people aren't missing the right opportunities. And if you fall to any of these categories and you want a no pressure consult with me to weigh out your options, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you make the right move, even if that right move is waiting. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.